Welcome to Short Scale Modelling. This is part 4 of Trumpeter's DKM U-boat Type 7C U552. Scale is 148. In this part, I'm going to be picking up where I left off, so I'm concentrating on building the torpedo tubes. I would imagine that's all I'm going to get in on this particular part of the build, because there's quite a lot of processes going on. But we'll see, hopefully I can get on to the next part as well. But anyway, let's jump into this and see how well I get on. So the tube is closed up. The first part to go on is a couple of little collars that go on the central part of the launch tube. But one side is smooth, the other side is riveted. So I have to make sure that the smooth side backs on to the proper area, of course. Now I'll have to put that to side and leave it to dry. So on to the next process, which is painting these canister things at the side, and that is getting painted in Humbrol 32 dark grey. As I said in the other video, there's 4 of these tubes to make up, but there's 2 are identical, so I'm not going to show you all 4 being made up. I'll just show you the 2 different types being made up. I'm using the same dark grey colour to paint the rim of the launch tube. This is where the hatch will be going. Then it's back to the tube, and it's time to put in the airlock door or the hatch. That just gets placed on the end. There is a little hinge the outer part sits on. Now, one of them I will actually be leaving open, but the instructions says have all 4 closed. But I think that's a shame, so I'm just going to leave one open. Next is to put this rod looking thing on next. There is a small location point for this. It can be a little bit confusing because there's a little groove on each side for it to fit into, so you have to make sure you have the right way up. Next is a little connection valve that goes on. Then we have a large piece that goes on. This has got one main connection point right at the edge. You can see there where my fingers are just pinching it. That sits on a raised little bit of plastic coming up from the top. This is actually, it's like a connecting pipe thing, but it sits directly onto it. Then it's onto this part. Now, the instructions are not really clear how this is meant to go. It took a lot of dry fitting and studying the instructions to find out how it fits. It goes up above onto the arm I just fitted, and then the right angle part sits inside where the middle section of the tube is. Once that was on, then it was just a case of laying on the various little pipes. Again, these do have location points, but they're very small, and there was a certain amount of guesswork involved in having a look at the instructions and dry fitting. It does say in instructions there's particular areas that you have to fit first, and so that's what I did. But I can understand why that was, because they just laid on next to each other anyway, or unless I got it wrong, of course, I'm not sure. However, I did get everything out onto its location point, so I'm fairly confident I did actually get them how they were meant to be. But as I said, it took a lot of trial and error and dry fitting before I understood exactly how everything was meant to go. Once the various pipes are in, there's a couple of brackets that do lay over the top of these to keep everything in place. Again, they all have their own little location points to help you out on them. The next part is a connecting part that goes from the original part I placed on, and then the little tube goes onto the canister. And I'll pay particular attention to the instructions for this because it can only go on one way, and it can be quite difficult to fit it. Place in the wider part first, then swing it around so it touches the canister area. You may find it easier to fit this part near the end of the section of the build. Now the next set, the other 2, it's fairly similar, but there's more pipe work to go on. The initial process is exactly the same, but as I said, there's more pipe work to go on. So again, if you look at the instructions to see which parts of the pipework go where. Each does have its own location points, as I said, and it's something to point out as well, because it's two different sets. Each tube does have different markings, so there's a bottom and top basically. So the bottom set will have one set of markings and location points, and the top set will have different location points to reflect the amount of pipework going on. So pay close attention to that, because it's easy to get the pipes onto the wrong one, and when you come to assembling it into its housing, you may actually discover that you've got everything the wrong way around. I can't emphasize enough how easy it is to get turned around on this particular part of the build. It will take a lot of studying and a little bit of know-how, and just carefully follow the instructions, or you will make multiple mistakes. But then that's what the dry fitting process is for as well, of course. And there is also a left and right to these as well. If you are building this, have a look at the bulkhead that this goes into, and you will see certain location points on the tube which marry up to the bulkhead, and that will help you with the left and right aspect of it as well. As I said, that there's many areas of this actual tube build that can go very wrong. This is why I'm taking my time to try and emphasize how difficult this little part is. The essential build, placing the pipes and that on is easy enough. It's just the correct order that you have to place them on. So look for those location points, dry fit, and carry on. Now the connection from the canister to the end of the tube, I will be placing in, but I'll be taking it off and putting it back on near the end of the build. Again, I'm just putting this in as a placeholder. I'm not quite there at that part of the build yet, but just a heads up on that. I'm trying to zoom right in on the camera as well, so you can see where all these little brackets go. But as you can see the amount of detail it's going into it. It's quite a lot of detail. Each bracket as well, some of them don't sit proud, they sort of sit off angle, like this little connection point here. When it goes into its housing, it actually sits off the curvature of the tube a little bit. So don't be tempted to sit it flush, because it does not sit like that. It's got to sit slightly off angle, but the housing for it does reflect that though. So as I said, one of the house hatches is going to be left open. So this is what I'm doing here now. Now this is going to come off. I discovered when I was building it, but it was a simple case of reattaching it. But it's only held together with the tiniest bit of cement. But when I put pressure in onto the tube and it was fitting it, it sort of popped off. So you'll probably see that in the video, but don't be alarmed. It was an easy fit. So I'm just placing the last parts onto the tube now. As I said, it's essentially the same, but this particular tube has more parts to it. And remember, there's another one just like this got to be done as well. This will actually take quite a long time to do. So that's all four made up. Now I'm just going to be touching up the paint where necessary. So I'm just gently taking an old brush and placing it over the whole pipework. So now it's onto the bulkhead, and I've just got to paint one or two little bits here. So again, I'll quickly just go through the colours. So it's 156 dark camouflage grey for the dark parts, then it's 32 dark grey for the darker grey, 19 bright red for the red parts, then red watercolour 04 gloss white for the white parts, and of course all the background colour is the 76 red watercolour for the main colour. As I said, that's all the main colours, so it's pretty much like the other colours I use. Now as I said in the other video, there is decals for these panels, but I've managed to misplace them, so I'm painting them in. I probably would have painted them in anyway, to tell you the truth. Once dried, the panels then get placed onto the bulkhead. As you can see, the location areas for these are fairly easy enough to identify. I can now begin assembling the tubes. Now I should point out as well, this tube I'm placing in, I purposely left the torpedo slightly out because I want to make sure that you can see it. So that's not a mistake, that was done on purpose. I'm just pointing out the location point for the tube. This is where the left and right comes into it. But essentially you're just pushing them down into the recess. And as I'm pushing them in, this is where I'm now connecting these little connecting pipes from the main part that then goes down into the canister. And this is what I said, it's easier to fit them now than it is to wait than at the beginning of building the tubes. Now it will take a little bit of manoeuvre and jiggling about to get them set. Well, it did with me anyway. So while I'm doing this is where I'll end part 4. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you jump over the channel and see if there's anything else there that you might like. If you do subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date not only with this build, but all my future builds as well, of course. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.